Let's bring in Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the president, as the president efforts in the next 5 months to get 4 more years. Kellyanne, the reaction that you have and the president has towards the fact check, which is now in the certain tweets the president puts out that links to a CNN and Washington Post story.
That part is the richest of all. These people have gotten nothing important right over the last 3 years, beginning with the very election where they were relying on their own data. I have a treasure trove of people's articles of how Hillary Clinton wasn't even saying Donald Trump's name. Barack Obama was hardly saying Hillary Clinton's name because they all thought that the election was decided long before that. Why? Because there's very little respect for democracy. The democratization of information that social media has brought forth, that President Trump has brought forth. You know, so many conservatives feel like they don't have a voice in the mainstream media. You've seen the statistics, they're unignorable. Fact check, over 90% of mainstream media reportedly vote for the Democratic presidential candidate. So many conservatives and many non-liberals and many non-voters feel like they have a platform on social media that allows them for free to express themselves. So we turn around and we use the same people who are going to endorse Joe Biden for president, reluctantly, are constantly attacking the president and the people around him, even when he does great things like reduce the cost of insulin yesterday for a maximum $35 copay for seniors each month. Even that can't get covered fairly and completely. And they're relying upon the same people who attack him all day long to, quote, fact check him. I think I want to raise the name of somebody at Twitter. He's the head of integrity, and his name is Yoel Roth. He's at Yoyel. Somebody in San Francisco go wake him up and tell him he's about to get more followers. This guy is constantly attacking Trump voters, Trump, Mitch McConnell, you name it. And he's the head of integrity at Twitter. Yoyel
Wow.
is his Twitter feed. Go and read what he said. We fly over, the racist flyover country who voted for Trump. It's just horrible the way he looks at people who otherwise should have a free and clear platform on Twitter. So, and look, what the president is saying about mail-in ballots, he expressed very well in the Rose Garden yesterday. He said, look, folks, if you're infirm, if you're traveling, if you're out of state right now from where you vote, of course you're going to get an absentee ballot. But why is Congress voting remotely all of a sudden? Kevin McCarthy sent in a lawsuit, is suing Nancy Pelosi to stop that from becoming institutionalized. He's absolutely correct on that. Why all of a sudden do we have mail-in ballots? If it's 86 degrees and sunny, America found their way to the beaches. Did you see the pictures this weekend? They'll find their way to the polls. So this is just another attempt of those who want to keep our states locked down, our churches, mosques, and synagogues closed, our professional sports locked up forevermore, our amusement parks, our kids, our lives locked down. They want you, the voter, to not be able to come out and express the most important franchise. And in advance of that, express yourselves on social media platforms. Mm-hmm. We have no presence in the mainstream media. They look down on us like we're deplorable and irredeemable. So social media gives us that presence. And the president himself has a huge advantage on social media. He has more followers than any president. He uses it more than anyone ever has to reach the people, to communicate, and to also hear back from them what's on their minds. So that's why they're shutting this down.
Well, and Kellyanne, yesterday the president used Twitter to announce the fact that the stock market was over 25,000 for a little while yesterday, and that the lockdowns are ending across much of the country. And today, I'm sure he's going to tweet out something about this SpaceX launch. This is exciting because after not sending men and women into space, today we're going to send 2 astronauts up. It's scheduled for 4:30 this afternoon, but this is a different kind of NASA flight because the capsule is owned by SpaceX, not the federal government. So essentially, we are a customer of Elon Musk, who's figured a way to do this.
Well, it's really exciting. The private-public partnerships, the way the president has been able to mobilize the private sector and everything from the COVID-19 response to passing the Tax Cut and Jobs Act years ago, the dereg agenda, and now SpaceX, is really remarkable. Some people who have been in government, indeed worked in the building behind me, believe government is always the solution, only the government. We've never believed that. We love to bring to bear a massive project, an American project like SpaceX, so people can also see the human exploration, but also the scientific progress that we think can come from a very exciting launch like this. And I'm glad that you're going to cover it live. I hope everyone is. It's very exciting. These kids have all been locked in, e-learning, distance learning. We're toward the end of the school year now for most of them. Let them tune in and see this great expression of human ingenuity and innovation and scientific progress. That's what the president is and the vice president are very focused on here. And apart from that, but relatedly, the president does have Space Force now, the first branch of the armed forces in 72 years. Part of the Air Force, and since we had the Air Force 72 years ago or so, this is a branch of government, a branch of the military. The president has made very clear how important it is to continue going into space, to explore and to make some medical innovations if we can.
So the market is surging after
Yes.
some of these states are reopening, and that's great news. Jason Furman, who's a top economist, he was in the Obama administration. He's now a professor at Harvard. He predicted back in April, he had a Zoom call with bipartisan leaders, economists, Federal Reserve chairs, that kind of thing, Republicans and Democrats. And he said something that shocked the Democrats because he was for an Obama guy. He predicted that there was going to be an explosion in employment numbers and GDP after all this is over. He said after a natural disaster, hurricanes, oil spills, he said normally there's a steep decline in the economy like we've seen here, but then there's a quick step to rebounding. So he says now people are going back to work. People that were furloughed are going back to their original jobs, and he's predicting we're going to see a big jump. Do you agree?
No question. He's predicting a big jump in part because that's what happened, but the big part is because it's President Trump who's going to rebuild an economy that he built in the first place, and you see that happening already. This president, thank God we had a solid economic foundation when this invisible enemy hit, because the deregulation, the energy dominance, the tax cut, the job creation, more jobs created than people looking to fill the jobs. Everywhere you turned, people were thriving. And the economy was booming, and it is starting to do that again. The Dow Jones is one indicator, but I would say to you that before the markets open today, the futures are up. I read this morning the Carnival Cruise stocks were up 11%. United Airlines is up 8%. Those are travel industry stocks that have been particularly hard hit, and consumer confidence is on the rise. So if you have your consumers saying to these governors, free me, let me go back to work, let my kids go back to school, let me go to my places of work, my places of worship, let me get outside and get some fresh air and vitamin D already. They're saying that to their governors. That's why 50 governors now have specific reopening plans, and that's why people like Gretchen Whitmer look like, fallacious liars and hypocrites when her own husband asks for special voting privileges, and she seems to have lots of time to audition for VP and be on TV constantly, run around the state, and yet what's good for her and her husband is not good for the rest of Michiganders. And I think that's why Michiganders are out there in full force saying, let me work. I'm staring at my June 1st bills now. Today is what, May 27th? People, the April 1st bills, May 1st bills, June 1st bills. The enemy is invisible, but the people are very visible to us. And the forgotten man and forgotten woman, the forgotten seniors, they want to get back to work. I think this is incredibly important, and it's why you see the economy and the confidence rising.
You know, that husband of hers got such a great sense of humor. He was kidding around because they love to kid around, pretending as if he really wanted his boat in the water. I don't think anybody's buying it.
I know Joe Biden insists on having a woman as VP, but does he want one that tells the truth? Because that was, she got caught. First she got caught, if people aren't following it, first she said no, it didn't happen, and then she said it was just a joke. But I don't think the people in Michigan who are still in lockdown are laughing much. They want to get back to work, and they want to get back to their places of worship, and they want their kids back in school and getting out and getting fresh air. We all want that.
Right, and it looks like the husband just wants his boat in the water. So does everyone else in Michigan, but they can't. Meanwhile, the President of the United States made an announcement yesterday that he's going to slash the price of insulin costs for our Medicare enrollees. He got into detail on it. How much is this in response to the numbers that look as though the president's one of his weaknesses this time around, at this point, 5 months out, is 65 and over? They seem to be going towards Joe Biden. Is this something to say, I'm listening to your needs?
Well, the president has delivered for seniors. He bolstered our military. He's done great things for our veterans, like the Choice Act, which allows them to access private care and still get reimbursed if they can't access quality, timely care at the VA. This president said, I won't touch Social Security and Medicare as a candidate, and he's made good on his promise. Yesterday, he touched Medicare in the right way. Medicare Part D recipients, 1 out of 3 who are diabetic, and many of whom take insulin, got a big boost yesterday, because now there will be a maximum $35 a month copay for your insulin. We found that $50 was the pressure price point at which many seniors stopped taking their insulin, or stopped taking enough of their insulin, or stopped getting their prescription filled. So $35 is way below that. There's also an opportunity for seniors on some plans to pay even less than the $35. And this is incredible because it's a 66% reduction in out-of-pocket costs for seniors. We don't want them to have to choose between food and insulin or other needs in insulin. Plus, what the president has done on telehealth for Medicare recipients, we had about 12,000 seniors using telemedicine before COVID-19 hit. Now we've got 6 figures worth having regular telemedicine appointments. The president wants to make that permanent. So this announcement was huge yesterday. We've been working on this for about 9 months with Administrator Verma and CMMI, and it actually was a waiver in Obamacare because Biden couldn't get it done. And we couldn't wait for Congress to act. We would love for Congress to work with us on drug pricing. The president will sign a great drug pricing bill, but they won't do it. So if Congress is just going to act up and not act, we took it upon ourselves. And yesterday we had the 3 major insulin makers, we had the patient advocacy groups, and we had the healthcare plan CEOs in the Rose Garden working with the president to get this done for America's seniors.
That's great.
All positive steps. All right. Kellyanne, thank you very much for joining us from the White House today.
Have a great day.